a mate of mine heard me singing for an artist singing the line, but I was just mucking around, and he said, "Yo, have you tried singing your own songs?" And I think my mindset then was nothing extraordinary happens without risk. So I was just like, no, I haven't. He was like, are you up for doing something? I was like, yeah, cool. He introduced me to my first manager, and 2 years later, I was opening up the second biggest stage at Glastonbury.
Sometimes we need to remind ourselves that we don't know who's watching us.
We're trying to find out, did you have to like reject any Diddy parties?
Yo.
Wow! We got some people listening on audio only, but if you're on video, you can see that we got a special guest in the building. We've got Jake Isaac in the building.
Come on, the one and only.
The one and only. Thank you for joining us, my bro.
A joy and a pleasure.
One thing we always ask people when they jump on the podcast, the name of the podcast is Bread and Butter.
Yes, sir.
You tell the people listening, what is your bread and butter?
Sheesh. I'm a musician. I'm a singer-songwriter. And I've been doing that for a while. I did a stint. In fact, my journey started off in marketing. I specialised in non-profit marketing. Then I got into songwriting and a bit of producing here and there, but majority songwriting and music directing for some pop acts. And yeah, my journey's music, basically.
Amazing. Would you say that's your passion?
Yeah. Do you know what? I think creativity as a whole is my passion. Finding ways to communicate stories. So I made my first film maybe like 2-3 years back, and it was great. It won a couple of awards, and
amazing.
And I ended up doing a stint A&Ring and championing other artists. So creativity.
I was glossing over the awards. Yeah, just gliding over it.
Relax.
Gliding.
So come on. So if for those that don't know, we grew up in church together.
Yes, sir.
We grew up in the same church.
Yes, sir.
So me and Jake actually in Sunday school together. Like, so it's mad when you think about from Sunday school to now. Like sometimes parents will be taking your kid to church. You don't know what they're gonna grow up to be. But I'd say probably my closest relationships are from people from church, and it's mad because we might not speak all the time, but there's history. Do you know what I mean?
History.
It's family, bro.
You know what I mean? Whenever we're in the room, it's like no time has passed.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
100%.
And it's like, it's amazing. But obviously, growing up, you were Jake Isaac, like DJ Isaac, like you were.
Pressure is getting worse.
Like for me, like if you want to know, like obviously in church, you got the cool kids. Jake was one of the cool kids.
Yeah, definitely.
I was one of the tag-alongers at the time.
I wouldn't agree with that.
I didn't have.
I
didn't have the
Everyone knew Iman. Everyone knew Iman from then. What are you talking about?
I never had the gum. No, Jake always looked good.
Relax.
Jake had all the girls that loved him.
Relax.
And then Jake was the drummer as well. And you know the drummer in church. You know what the drummer in church? That's the superstar. That's the
Get this
superstar.
information from?
Every time we do praise and worship, you do extra all over the thing. The whole church is looking at him.
Relax.
Jake was that guy. So what was it like? Plus, your dad was Pastor Les, probably one of the, in the UK, especially in the black community, probably one of the biggest pastors that led one of the biggest youth movements throughout. Like a lot of us are where we are today because of the steps that he put in place. When you used to come out the rave, Pastor Les will be outside. He's scared to go out to the club. Pastor Les will be outside.
There's a chance you can
link him.
It's crazy.
And he's there giving people bottles of water, helping people that are drunk, making sure they get home. And he's done this. It still goes on till today.
Yeah, street pastors.
Street pastors still goes on till today. Pastor Les was doing that way back when. Like, what was it like being you at that time?
Yeah, you know what? The good thing about it was, my old man, he was always down to earth. Like if he bumped into one of you now, he's spud. He wants to know. You know how he is. He's just like he's proper down to earth. He's a real one. You know. And I think it was a massive honor for me to have a dad like him who's just able to relate. And even now, after my miss, he's like my best friend. You know what I mean?
I love that.
So it's been great. Yeah, we've had our ups and downs. There are times I'm like, try to move, man. Do you know what I mean? Everybody, I feel like particularly as pastors' kids, we're the worst.
They say that, innit?
Yeah. We're the traumatic ones. Yeah, but I feel like yeah, we've journeyed that, and now he's that's my guy. He's down to earth, still down to earth, and he's still making massive moves and impacting culture.
So what got you into music? Because as long as I've always known you, music always is that. Did you take lessons young? Were you pushed that way, or did you just have a natural affinity to music?
Yeah, church was the starting point, man. You know what? There's nothing like music in church. Nothing like it. Like, I don't care if you're musical or not. When praise and worship starts, bro, you know what I mean? And Auntie Bumi is just going for it. She's dancing along the front line. Everyone's up and you're just going.
Yeah.
You can't find that in certain places.
You can't.
Do you understand what I'm saying? The stuff that we grew up on. And I think for me, it struck a chord in me because I realised back then the power of music to change people's minds and emotions and heal. And like, music is a powerful tool, and to some it's a drug.
Yeah.
And I think, I think those days impacted what I live out now, just in terms of writing songs that help meet people where they're at, creating music for other artists to help communicate what they're feeling. There's a great line, we've all got a certain amount of time to bring beauty to the world. And I believe this world would be black and white if music wasn't in it. You know what I mean? I think from when we were growing up, I started to realise some of that.
Love that.
So it's all born in like what you're experiencing in the church. And I think it's a good way that you put it, because I think that naturally in the church it's like music plays such a big part. Like, people are led by the Spirit.
100%.
We actually don't know if praise and worship is going to be 10 minutes or an hour. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Facts.
And you've kind of used that and your experiences, and now you're able to bring other artists' thoughts to life through music, basically. And I can imagine that's incredibly hard for an artist to do, and it's amazing that you're able to do that as well. Yeah,
you know what? It's I think it's about our ability to relate on a completely human level. Conversation like this, there's a song even in this.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you guys might be the one to sing, but there's in all of our life experiences and our life sharing, there are songs and stories waiting to be unlocked. I often say to people, listen, we're all creators. Yeah. I'm not, just because you sing in the shower for 5 minutes, well, I hope it's more than 5 minutes in the shower, but like, you don't disqualify yourself from being a creator. You have something to express. Everyone's got something to bring to the world when it comes to being creative. And I just feel like, there are songs in every conversation. Yeah.
I'm going to get straight into something which a lot of people ask the question about and kind of struggle with. So we've all grown up in a church. You've grown up as a pastor's son. And it's kind of like music was born for you in the church, and that's where you discovered your passion for it.
Yeah.
How did you experience any struggles with earning an income off the music, basically?
Yeah, so the first time I started making money was as a session musician, as a session drummer.
Okay.
And playing bass for some artists as well. And back in those days, it's like in any industry, you start from the bottom.
Yeah.
You don't, if you come in at the top, it's not going to last too long.
Yeah.
You have to kind of grow up and build some form of network and put yourself out there. And I think back in those days, when I was running around London, sitting on a night bus after gigs late at night, around like 18, 19, and then going uni and then commuting back to London to do gigs.
Wow.
Like, you're making what, £100 for 2 hour job or whatever, playing for someone. But at that point in your career as a musician, you're laughing. And this was back in the day. Do you know what I mean? Obviously things have increased now, rates have gone up and whatever. But I think when you're passionate about the art and creativity and music and like, it kind of doesn't matter. And I often, to other musicians and to anyone actually, I often say, do the thing that even if you didn't get paid, you'd still do it, because that, like, you'll always aspire to be the best version of yourself when that's your passion.
Yeah.
And then at a point, your monetary value becomes a reality, and that's just confirmation, of who you actually are and what you actually carry and what you actually contribute to an industry or to the world. And I think for me, money back then wasn't an issue because I knew something in me was called to that space.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And I think that you dropped a gem there, which is something that we speak about a lot, which is do something that is your passion and you can do when you might not be getting paid for it, or you can do when you're not feeling well, or you can do when 100%. Your brain feels congested with so many other things. What did you study at uni? Was it music based as well?
No, I studied marketing.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where that's where it starts telling a part of the journey, because you got marketing background as well. Yeah. So talk to us about that.
So I studied marketing for 4 years. I minored in TV production, and I came out of it and I went straight into non-profit marketing. I was always, do you know, I'm not the most academic, even though I can articulate myself. In fact, my head of faculty at uni, he said a guy called Mike Flynn, he's some hotshot Don marketing guy from Canada. He said to me when I was in my last year writing my dissertation, he said, Jake, you're probably one of the brightest minds I've ever had in this department, but you suck at essay writing. And you know what? But you know the crazy thing after that, he said, but I personally am going to be your dissertation tutor. And I think for me, that was enough. I passed, I was all cool, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that was enough for me to realize, you know what, even though I might be wired differently and not wired in a typically academic way, there are still certain things which I'm extremely good at and have a mind for. And so that's why I put myself in the challenge of non-profit marketing, making money with no budget. I mean, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's like an everyday life skill, to make something out of nothing. And I just think it helped stretch me. It helped me become even more innovative, more creative.
You have to be innovative.
in my, do you see what I'm saying? More innovative and creative in how I did things, and collaborative.
Yeah.
There's a great saying, collaboration produces innovation. You get more than what you could get on your own when you're willing to work with others.
Yeah.
And I think in a space like non-profit marketing, anything goes.
So for those that may not be familiar with non-profit marketing, what does that look like? What does a task look like? Because we mentioned that you got no money. You have to try and market and get money. What does that look like?
So say some charities just don't have budget, or some organizations or startups just don't have a lot of budget. I mean, it's wise to have some now to chuck at stuff like social media, etc. But especially when I was in it, there wasn't much money assigned to getting messages out there, to exposing a brand further afield. And so what marketing is, forgive me if there's any marketers watching this, I'm just going to simplify it real quick. It's basically a, how do I do this? It's a fancy way of conning people. No, that's harsh. It's the idea of how to sell things in a way which is palatable and meets the consumer at their point of need. Okay. That's it in a nutshell. And non-profit marketing, in that situation, my situation was working for a charity that is a non-profit.
Okay, cool. Good to know.
Love that. So how do you then go about making a transition from, because I'm guessing you're doing this while you're still drumming, still making music. How do you go from being in the background on the drums and on the bass to then moving forward? Because I actually remember the first time I saw you in church and you were on the bass. I was like, what are you doing? And you're like, oh yeah, I'm learning the bass.
I'm trying to think.
I'll never forget. He's like, yeah, I'm learning to play bass. I'm like, wow, but you're the drummer though. Like, what made you think to come out of that? Because a lot of people say, look, once you've got a lane and you're sick at it. I'm talking, for people that don't realize, we're not talking like your average drummer at church. Jake is the type of person, when Jake plays,
this guy,
praise and worship don't want to stop. And then what Pastor will do is,
even a lifetime ago, bro.
Even at the end, especially Pastor Saki will say, let's do some more. Let's do some more. And then Jake will get on, because he will just make your everyday songs just, even we'll be doing like normal hymns. He will lick African or Caribbean on the bass line, and then everyone's waist will start. And Jake was one of the first times I ever see to stand up. So he'll do, and then he'll stand up, and then he'll get the crowd into it.
I was doing too much.
He was doing a lot.
I was definitely doing too much.
You knew when it, like, you could come in and you'd know when Jake was on the drums. Like, the whole place is different. Like, so you were sick at that. What made you then say, okay, I'm gonna learn the bass, then I'm gonna start singing? What was the thing to say that you're not gonna stick to one lane? Because there's a lot of people who have loads of ideas and loads of things and don't know, should I stick to what I'm good at or should I move on? How do you know to transition?
Do you know what? Talent and character are not often the same thing in many situations. So you could be sick at an instrument, but you don't have the character to move into a field professionally and venture out and build a career. That's the first thing. And I think secondly, I realized I had more to communicate than just rhythm.
Yes.
I realized I needed to speak to people's minds and hearts and emotions in more than just drums. And And I think those two things, a combination of those two things, growing in my character as a musician and going beyond just the rhythm section, I think, yeah, those are the two things that drove me to pick up other instruments, you know?
And then sing.
That's what I was going to ask about.
You
Were you singing in the background at home and that?
No, never.
Listen, we was all in, I've heard Jake's. When I hear him now, I'm like, where did this come from?
Same, me too.
Because he's never had, like, you know, when we were young, like everyone would sing, and sometimes even in Sunday school they'll make you sing on your own, just in back. No, you sing this part. Like he never had a voice that would say no, it was bad, but he never had a voice that would be like, I'm gonna be leading.
Yeah, no one's saying wrong.
So when I listen to your songs now, I'm like, wow. So this can really be the because you could have just been a songwriter, right, and let other people sing it, but you actually came forward and sang yourself. Talk to us about that.
Yeah. So I'd actually. In the church times, finished uni, came back. I started a collective back in the day called I Equals Change, and it was like a bunch of mates, and we used to
love that.
We used to go around and it was great. And then at the end of one concert, one of my friends, he was signed to a guy called Wayne Hector, who's one of the most incredible songwriters of a generation from this country. And my friend came up to me. His name was Greg Haley, and he said, "Yo, have you ever thought about writing pop songs?" And I'm like, first question, can you make any money from that? Writing songs, you know, like I was clueless. And we laughed about it, but it was a genuine question because I thought I need to answer to my mum, innit? Like,
facts.
And at some point, I want to try and get a mortgage, and at some point, I start a family. Anyway, my boys, they introduced me to the world of pop songwriting, and in my first two cuts, I ended up writing a song with Gabrielle and a song with Blue, the boy band. Wow. I was in a session after that, and a mate of mine heard me singing for an artist singing a line, but I was just mucking around, and he said, "Yo, have you tried singing your own songs?" And I think my mindset then was nothing extraordinary happens without risk. So I was just like, "No, I haven't." He was like, "Are you up for doing something?" I was like, "Yeah, cool." He introduced me to my first manager. And 2 years later, I was opening up the second biggest stage at Glastonbury. Right. And I've just been going ever since. Like, this is not I've planned this out and boom, 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 and I'm going to be... You understand what I'm saying? I'm still a drummer in my mind. Do you see it? But I realised that actually me saying yes to these things was answering that desire to want to meet people and reach people at a deeper place than just playing drums, you know?
Yeah.
I love that. I think we got the title for the episode for whoever's going to do that job. Nothing extraordinary comes without risk. I think that's
honestly, it's true.
That's it. That's it. That sums up Jay Isaac to a T. To a T. So now, how do you actually take it serious? Did you have role models? So obviously, you know, our Uncle Moyo is a big hit.
Yeah,
and let me just tell our Uncle Moyo story. So listen, we get Uncle Moyo is doing something in Birmingham. Yeah, doing something in Birmingham. And all of a sudden, so the night before, he's like, "We need helpers." Remember, Jake's a big deal. Big drummer. Big deal. So we need helpers. Can you, Jake, and Teddy Theodore come down? So I'm like, okay. So I called the guys, they're like, yeah, let's go down. We do a road trip. We drive.
It's the best road trip
ever.
It
was the best road trip ever. Like, when I tell you the conversations we had, the jokes, obviously me and Jake are switching driving, like, because we get tired, we'll switch over.
Yeah.
We go down there, we do it, we serve. Like, and obviously for me, it was one of the times, because you see, like, I've always looked up to Jake. Do you see what I'm saying? Because I feel like he's always been just that step ahead when we were younger. Okay. And maybe it's the exposure to what he was around and so forth. But his mindset was always a step ahead. So I've always looked up to him. And I never forget, like, we were literally like stewards.
Yeah.
And that was the first time when I saw Jake stewarding, I said to myself, if someone like Jake at his position, at his level, like when we go places, people are like, oh, drummer Jake, and he's willing to serve because our uncle said so. That changed, that touched my heart to say, E-man, no matter how big you get, no matter where you got, like, we're all in this ecosystem. Do you understand?
Yeah, 100%.
Because people have served for us to be in a place.
Yeah.
And so we have to be prepared to serve, and those coming after will do the same. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Otherwise, the ecosystem doesn't work.
It's true.
And so it doesn't matter how big you get outside of these walls or whatever, there's levels. There's your olders, there's your youngers, and so for me that was probably one of the best trips. I hold that in my heart all the time.
Oh my God.
Did seeing Uncle Moyo do what he did, and did that help you feel like, I've got someone that I know that's done this, I can do this? Or where did your inspiration come from to say we can take this more than just go around from church to church? Because you do it on a country. I see Germany. I'm like, rah, like you do it all over. How do you take it that serious?
Do you know what? Moyo he's the godfather of one of my children. I still call him Uncle Moyo. You know what it is? People like us need elders. You have to value elders. You have to identify them and value them as elders. That in itself is the application of wisdom. Knowing who you look up to, identifying that person. And I'm not just talking like a business mentor. So I'm talking someone that you go, yo, this is who I'm accountable to. Yes. This is who's overseeing my journey. This is who I'm allowed to tell me my breath stinks. You know what I mean? Like you need it.
Yeah, you need it.
You need it. There's just wisdom in that sense of counsel and accountability. And I feel like watching Moira from then, I think it set me up to start thinking and acting like a man. That's what elders will do. When you have someone you look up to, you start thinking above yourself. You're thinking beyond yourself. And I think even to this day, I'm still accountable to. I still pick up the phone and go, I'm thinking of this business-wise, or I'm thinking of this, or I'm dealing with this. How would you process this? Sometimes he says some wild things. I'm like, Uncle, allow it, man.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But most of the time, I'm like, boy, yeah, cool. And often when he says the wild stuff, it's almost like he's trying to test me to see what I'm going to take.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But I think the whole journey, my whole life journey, that's the one thing I'm grateful for learning from young, is how to value by serving, by following. If a man says, come here, then I'm coming.
Yeah.
There's something in that levels you up, you know? And
Definitely.
yeah, I'm going to teach the same thing to my children and anyone who comes in my way. If someone says to me, Jake, I want to roll with you, I'm like, yeah, cool. Someone gave it to me for free. Someone set me up mindset-wise.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to do, no matter your cultural background, find elders and level up to become an elder.
Yeah.
Because there are generations that need what you carry, the experience that you have.
Absolutely. And there's a phrase that we often use, which is, you don't know who's watching in it. And we use it in one way, like you don't know who's watching when you're hustling away. Yeah. But there's a different way to use it, which you've kind of just touched on, because obviously you spoke to Uncle Muyo a lot, but there's so much that you would have learned from him by just observing.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to say anything. You've seen the way that he's moved, basically. Definitely. And sometimes we need to remind ourselves that we don't know who's watching us.
Therefore.
Does that make sense? Because there's some people that consider us as elders and as mentors, but they haven't spoken it. But they're watching our every move. So that's why it's like super important for us to just move with integrity with everything we do and do things the correct way, because we really don't know which young people have identified us as their elder or their mentor.
Even
but they
peers.
Even peers, yeah, definitely.
Facts.
Definitely.
Facts. So what was the journey like when you first started, like doing your first songs? How did you get on tour with Paloma Faith?
Yeah.
Like, how does that work? Like,
give us the
crazy.
inside scoop.
Like,
give us the inside scoop.
Crazy.
Yeah. So I think, so going back a bit, when I ended up saying yes in terms of management and starting that music journey as a singer-songwriter, I ended up that same weekend I was at Glastonbury opening the other stage for Imagine Dragons.
Sorry, I've got to pause you. Let's talk about, how did that come about?
You know what, bro? I'd been grafting, just doing. So I was working a marketing job during the day, like 5 days a week, and in the evenings I was taking on songwriting sessions or doing gigs. Do you remember Love Lounge?
Yes.
Man like Jeffrey Anthony,
yes,
Love Lounge.
Yes.
That was where Mo Gilligan came from, Cynthia Erivo, Cherry V, Shan Acko, who just come from Hamilton. There was a bag of us that in scenes like that were just hustling, getting around. And even then, I wasn't really singing, I was just playing guitar. So whilst I was working during the day, I would go and do these kind of gigs at night. As a result, I ended up meeting my first music lawyer, I ended up meeting my first agent. And I just kept on doing it, thinking, boy, I've only got, 20 minutes to impress a crowd that have never heard of me. And those times, Ed Sheeran, amazing artist, obviously, I was in his orbit, and I got to watch him up close and be like, right, this guy is a one-man band. Like, you're not leaving there not feeling entertained. And so I would learn from that. I'd be like, all right, cool, what do I need to do in my show to... and just grafting. It's funny because even that, my dad, I remember coming home and I was talking to my dad about something. I was talking to him about my boys, JP Cooper, Jacob Banks, and saying, yo, I was talking to JP and Jacob's, he's from Birmingham. I was talking, and those are great guys, good friends, who like, I check for every now and then, we check for each other every now and then, great guys. But my dad said something. He said to me, he said, cool, I hear that about your mates, but who's at the top of the game? I was like, right, man like Ed. He was like, cool, watch what he does.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a disrespect to this level, but it was almost like that call to look higher.
Yeah.
So I think in that's why I pursued trying to build my one-man show. As a result, a slot became available at the other stage at Glastonbury just before Imagine Dragons. And word had got out through my agent, this kid, this 6'4" black kid, he's running around London. Yeah. Do you want to give him a shot? And they said, yeah. Bro, that same weekend, I ended up signing to Elton John's Rocket Management team, and I ended up getting my first #1 on iTunes for singer-songwriter.
Wow.
Crazy.
Like, it was bonkers. Like, it was, and then from there, it was like a whole new level to the journey, and that's when I ended up supporting Paloma, opening for Sting, writing with Cat Burns, who's an absolute incredible artist. And it's an honor to be a small part of her journey. Touring with Elton John, Jack Savaretti.
You're glossing too much, you're gliding over it too much. Because this is insane.
Elton John is crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
Elton John is crazy.
Yeah, man. There's been some crazy highlights on my journey, and then, and I think as well, it's at any point I know that sometimes the wave dies down, and I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I'm kind of going, all right, cool. What else do I want to communicate? That's why I went into the filmmaking, whatever. But it just feels like the wave is kind of still growing, and just kind of almost feels like it's just starting. Bruv, like I was in Atlanta this year, hanging out with Queen India Arie, like sitting down, talking, chopping up. She's an elder to me. You understand? Sitting down and just respecting what she's saying, listening to her story, asking questions. Yeah, I got to open up for her, and yeah, she featured on a record with me, and that was a joy. But I feel like along my journey, sitting down and talking to Elton, or sitting down and talking to Ed, and hearing, tell me about your lowest moment. Those are elder conversations.
Yeah.
Where you go, this is invaluable.
Yeah.
Sitting down with India earlier this year, like she's influenced generations.
Yeah.
After Tracy Chapman, you go straight to India Arie, and she's any soul R&B singer that's ever held a guitar in their hand.
Yeah.
She's kicked it off. I don't care who you are. Do you understand what I'm saying? Stormzy's had on that album just the other day. Cat Burns just put on her album. Like, she's still influencing generations. You understand?
Yeah.
But it's just invaluable when you get to sit down and listen and learn from someone else's experience. And I think those conversations have actually sustained me on this music journey as a creative.
Yeah.
To keep going, knowing, and the reason why it has sustained me is it's helped me to realize what's important and what's not.
Yeah.
You understand? It's just almost, it realigns your sense of values and just what you prioritize.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I love that. I got two things I want to ask you. Firstly, you're a man of faith.
Yeah.
So how do you keep the faith in the music business? Because we hear so much about it.
Yeah.
And is your music even classed as Christian? Like, what would you class yourself as your music? Because it's very positive and very much the lyrics are very uplifting. But would you call yourself a gospel singer, or would you feel like you're completely separate from that?
Yeah, do you know what? I think one thing I always say is this whole life thing, this whole, not just music, but this whole life thing, there's a great word for it, Mbontu. I am because we are. Our appreciation of each other, our willingness to contribute to each other is what actually causes everyone to grow. And so my approach to music is, it's from a place of faith, but fundamentally it's from a place of love, a place of going, how can I contribute to, I don't know, let's say a single mother who's just put 3 children to bed, she's got a glass of wine that she needs to wash the dishes and tidy up the yard. How can I help her day? You understand what I'm saying? How can I help a couple who's just had one big old argument and yet they've got to wake up tomorrow morning and do the school run? And the grind, how can I contribute to your day? I think sometimes we like to limit what we do to what we believe. And actually, there should be some fundamental values that we have, which goes, as a human being, how can I bring beauty to that person's world?
Yeah,
that can come from what you believe. I understand that. Yeah. But I just think it's not just one or the other. It's not just this or that. I think it's all in all, you know? And I don't know. I take what I believe, I take who I am, I take my life experiences, and I pivot. If I'm in church, I'm in church. If I'm out here, I'm out here. Like, don't be a widow about it. Contribute to people's lives. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
that's my favorite saying this year.
You understand what I'm saying? I don't expect Bob over there to know about my life experience. I don't expect Bob to know the language of Sunday school that we grew up with. I don't expect Bob to know that. But what I do know that Bob knows about is how to relate to someone and to love and to meet him where he's at and go, yo, how's your day going, bruv? Like, you understand what I'm saying? That's my stance. It's all fluid. It's all about pivoting. It's all about fluid. It's all about not being a weirdo. It's all about contributing to someone else's world and bringing beauty to their world.
Love that.
That's amazing. What would you say, just to double down on Iman's question though, how was your experiences being a man of faith, navigating the music world? Like, do you ever get into a situation where it's kind of like, this doesn't agree
100%.
with what I agree with?
Trying to find out, did you have to like reject any Diddy parties?
Yo. Wow. Yo, the jugular. Nah, is that what we do here? Yeah. Wow. Nah, you know what? Big man things. I've never had that vibe. You know what it is? Man, like in any situation, bruv, in banking, bruv, I think bankers are more rock and roll than musicians. Like, what's Wolf of Wall Street? Like, like, there's, no matter where you go, there are opportunities to compromise. But you don't have to get yourself into that situation. And you know what? For me, because of my journey, because of my core values, because of the people I'm accountable to, I would rather have a dull career than compromise who I am as a person.
Yeah.
That's long. Yeah. Like, I would rather have a family, chill out, live in a yard and rare air than do whatever it takes to get to the top of an industry that does not care about me anyway. Like, in any industry, I think there just has to be core values as human beings, as people of faith, as that you're like, no, this is who I am and I refuse to compromise.
No, I love that. And I guess my final question, because I know we got to wrap up, but I have to ask.
He said Diddy parties.
Jake, you were the first of us to get married. Like, you're the first of us to be in a long-term relationship. Like, when we were all running around being silly, Jake was fixed. He's like, man, I'm not coming out with you. Like, I'm serious about. Talk to us about, like, because you've been your missus for so long. What's that been like? That journey. Like, how have you sustained that? How has that played an impact in what you do in life? And obviously having a family, you've left London. Like, talk to us about your family, because obviously I know it's so important to you. We can't have a conversation without talking about your wife and your family because you know she's been there with you for so long. Do you know what I mean? Talk to us about it.
You know what? Big man ting, I didn't think I was going to make it past 2 years, bro. I didn't think I was going to make it past 2 years. You know what? It's not been easy, but it's been worth it.
Yeah.
And when I say it's not been easy, most of the time it's me.
Of course.
Like, you understand what I'm saying?
No, I know what you're saying.
I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, and we've had our difference in it. No. It's been me. It's been me. Like, yeah, she has her stuff. But for me, and I understand that my journey in marriage and as a family man, I've made mistakes, but it's about being with people who are willing to grow with you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. And that's it, man. That's why I'm still here. Hopefully I'll still be here in the next 40 years.
Come on, of course.
We love that.
You know what I mean? But also I think it's about modeling something for my children.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Like, I think we often see relationships and love as this and that as this, but love is also about perseverance. Love is also about sorry. Love is also about forgiveness.
Come on,
love is. You understand what I'm saying?
Listen well, you know.
Kentucky Rice music, right?
Kentucky Rice music.
Relax.
The love is also about perseverance. It's also about sorry.
Relax. You know what I mean, though?
No, facts.
Like, if we try and make it about what we see on social media, what somebody's talks, like, come on, man. That's like, you know what, I was thinking about it the other day, I was thinking, you know, is Like, do you actually love someone for a lifetime? Because let me tell you something, right? There are moments where you're like, no, I don't think I love you anymore, you know? I am tolerating you fully.
Yeah.
Give me a moment, I'll come back round. You understand? And I don't know how that works. I don't know what that is, but there's something in companionship and in perseverance that just makes you go, you know what? This is right for me, but right now I don't like it. And I don't know if you call that love. I don't know. I don't know what the rules are. Everyone's figuring it out as they go along. Our parents were figuring it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Facts.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I think there's an unhealthy expectation for people to get it right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think we'd get a lot further if we expected people to have to navigate their way through it and might get things wrong. I think we'd be more gracious to each other in relationships, in marriage, if we were a bit more open-handed in terms of our expectations of each other.
Yeah. No, I think a big misconception, like you say, is that a lot of people think that you don't have to work on love.
Yeah.
They think it's automatic.
No,
like the movies.
No.
Just 50 years of effort, just constant bliss.
No.
Nah, you have to activate.
No, it's not that. But friendship and companionship, like as in being friends.
Friends is key.
It's important.
It's key.
It's not, that one there.
Because you did it. You one of the first. Like, I remember you was like, I'm isolating. It's no he's one of the first people to ever just send that text message that if you don't hear from me, it's love. That's what I'm saying. Because I got to focus on my thing right now. And I never forget. I remember I called him, he's like, bro, you know what? Sometimes, bro, it's not even personal. Because obviously sometimes you're so, especially remember Sunday school, we used to see each other all the time. Then he's left church, but you're still trying to keep that. And man said, listen, just let me go. Don't worry. It's all right.
It's true.
We'll be good on the way back.
It's
you
true.
understand?
Yeah, it's true.
But right now, I'm going through it, and this is what I got to focus on.
Bro, it's so true.
And it's a lesson that I learned as well. Sometimes you just got to let people go, and it's not personal.
It's not personal.
And if they take it personal, it's all right. We just want to maintain. You understand? It's all right.
100%.
Yeah. I want to ask one more question before we wrap up. So, I think you said something that's very, very important. You spoke about your career and it felt like, wow, this is amazing. All this stuff is happening for me. Yeah. And then you got to a point where it's like, do you know what? I'm starting to feel like this is just the beginning. Like all the amazing things that I'm doing, like this is just the beginning. And I guess, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but is that a byproduct of some of the environments that you've been around and some of the things that you've done recently? And as a follow-up question is, where do you see that taking you to next?
You know what? Yes, I think some of the conversations I'm having with some of these elders and in some of the rooms I'm in, I'm sitting there, people are telling me, yo, it just feels like you're kind of, something's happening here, something's kicking off here. And I'm having to go, yo, let me be grateful for a minute and just listen to the voices that are around me. And that's why I say that. It feels like something's stirring. And I think in terms of where it goes, one of the key things I've learned is not to focus on that. Just focus on the next step.
Yeah.
Take the pressure off. Like, be kind to yourself. I'm not this, like, because what will happen, I think, is if you focus on being at the top, if you ever make it there, when you get there, one of two things happens. It's either a long way down and that's waiting for you, or you get there and you're just dissatisfied. And I just want to be someone who's grateful for today.
Yes.
I want to be grateful that I made it for tomorrow.
Yes.
And if I ever get there, I'll be grateful for that too, if I can practice it along the way.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at, man. I've got a roof over my head. I can provide for my family. I've got certain things in place financially that provide for my children. I'm not Elon Musk. I don't have that kind of monies. I am Jake Isaac, and where I'm at right now, there's a difference between happiness and being content.
Yes.
I want to be both. I want to be happy in the small things, but I want to be content where I'm at.
Yeah.
Love that.
Super important. And then, bro, just to wrap up, finally, we always ask people, what is the W and the L of your career or journey? Whatever you can think about now. Give some people the insights. You know?
The win is having a family.
Amazing. Love to hear that.
Especially in my industry, to be able to do what I do, tour when I want to tour or when it's appropriate, building my life around family, working from home, picking up my children from school.
You can even see the joy in his face.
Smiling.
No, but come
it's
on.
beautiful,
you know
man.
what I mean? Like,
Man smiling like he got a fresh plate of jollof and chicken. You know, like when you're just smelling it for time. And man says, dinner's ready. That's how he's smiling.
Yo, big man things. That's my life operates on, my work operates on my family. That's a win. The L, I think I could have taken more risk.
Wow, even as a risk taker.
Yeah. I love that. I think that's the only regret I have. Just taking more, like, there are things I could have done a lot earlier. And I think in my pursuit of wanting to please certain people that were in my orbit, that I was working with, whether it be managers, A&Rs, like even just genre, music style wise, like I could have been here way sooner if I'd taken more risk back then and not waited for the approval of others.
Yeah, no, I hear that.
It's powerful.
It's powerful, man. It's powerful. It's powerful, even for someone that does take the risk. But I guess what you try and do is you channel that energy so that the next opportunity comes off, it's like,
you're nice.
Just remember it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Bro, thank you so much for coming on. It's a nice little catch up.
Yeah.
Come on.
You want to reminiscing on back in the day, man.
Trust me. I'm too happy, bro. Listen, if you're listening right now, you don't understand. This is my brother, you know. This is from a kid. This is my brother. This is my big bro. I'm so happy he's here. I'm so happy to see him. It's been too long, and I'm so proud of you, bro. I just want you to know, like, we're all proud of you. Like, where you gone, where you taking it, what you're doing, what you stand for. It means so much, and it's an honor that, you know, man called and you came. Even though man lives far, man said, "No, I'm gonna make time," and that's what it's about. You know what I mean? No matter how we get, ways make time for one another, and man, just keep being the example that you were back then. You're still doing it now, man. We're all following you, man. Love him, bro.
Jeez, come on, guys. That's been the Bread and Butter podcast. As you know, we always get amazing guests like Jake Isaac for you, but who do you want to see on next? Let us know in the comments below.
Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what part you liked. And yeah, like Tyson, any guests you want to recommend, let us know, man. But these are the types of gems we want to give you. So I make sure you go back and listen. Because, this is bare fun, but trust me, there's so much gems in there. Make sure you take them and actually apply them to your daily life, man. And that's going to get you to making the type of bread and butter you want to be making.
Come on. See you on the next one, guys. Peace.